and thanks again for joining me on behalf of the GoEngineer technical staff. So let's talk about what most SOLIDWORKS product users experience during their working careers. We're going to do this by exploring how you can reach out and work with us. In the event, we also hope to help you avoid days that look a little bit more like this. The feeling of just wanting to get your job done, but something seemingly out of your control is not allowing it. You've battled the keyboard by passively striking the keys with more and more force. You've dropped the mouse from increasingly larger heights and speed in hopes the PC can feel your anger building as you're trying to work through the project. All the while, your managers, team leads, bosses, they're strolling through looking for that long-awaited update to your project completion until you end up looking like this. You finally snap. Gotta admit, I've wanted to do exactly what this guy is doing to my machine more times than I'd like to admit. This is where we can step in and actually, before you probably get this far, we want you to avoid destroying anything. And we're going to show you how we can help. So with the ever-growing coverage area for the GoEngineer team, we've managed to set ourselves up to be able to offer 12 hours of support for any continental U.S. time zone. So that's 8 to 8 Eastern, 5 to 5 Pacific, Mondays through Fridays, exclusion of holidays. We have a full list of those on the website as well. That means that there's off-peak hours for any major changes or fixes to your system, which can be tackled with support staff available in the event there's any problems with those large-scale changes. So that's very important. So keep in mind you can reach out to us during those non-peak times. So let's talk about the methods for contacting us. So there's 3 primary methods. We have the phone, the email, and a web chat. So we're going to go ahead and start with the phone option. So when you need support, use the 888 number you see here. It's also on the website. It's in most of our email signatures that you'll get from us. Using the number will allow you to select the area of support you need. As you can see here in the call lines, in the graphic on the left, each topic has a group of technicians assigned. So it's important that when you see those, that you're working to select the right category, right? Picking the wrong category isn't so bad. It'll just take you longer to get to the right person to help you with the solution. We know how to move those back and forth as needed. So if you can definitely get in the same line that you need to, that would be great. After making the selection, you should be expecting to speak with a live representative in less than 2 minutes. If you prefer not to wait, you can leave a message and a case will be created for you. The next available technician will reach out if you don't want to wait for the couple minutes. We also have some individuals that are customer loyalty ambassadors. They're there to help get your case into the correct group. So you're not waiting on the phone for a long time to speak to an individual. They'll go ahead and start to get your information gathered, start to get that set up, and then get you transferred over to that live technician as soon as one of them get off the line. So we always want to make sure you're taken care of and you're not waiting too long for any help at all. So our next method of contact is going to be the email. So simply sending a message to support@goengineer.com will get a case created with all the details that you provide. So this is the same list of cases that our other contact methods also create. So no one method will put your case ahead of others when it comes to the subscription-based technical support. It's first come, first serve, right? Just like any way you try to address us, putting in a proper subject line or description are keys for getting you to the right department for your issue. For example, if your issue is with opening files in SOLIDWORKS, but you forgot to mention it's when you're accessing files from PDM, then you might initially get to the wrong department or have the wrong department calling you. In this case, we'd figure it out quickly and we'd get you over to the next available PDM technician for assistance. In the addition of screen captures, or file sets. Both of those are welcome. It'll allow us to further diagnose or prepare the troubleshooting tools we're going to need for the call. Keep in mind, emails sometimes block larger attachments, and it might not get out of your facility into our inbox. So kind of know your email, know your outbound. If you're not getting any responses, please call us. We want to make sure we're engaged with you to give you help. Once the email is received, from us, you'll get a notification reply like you see here, that we've actually got it. It will include a case number for your reference. If your request received by us during normal business hours, we'll reach out to you via phone and or email. And from this point, your correspondence will be generally with the technician who's been assigned your case. So you'll start to see their name at GoEngineer moving forward. The last method, it's used a little less by customers at this time, but it's very effective for questions with limited variables. So it's great for individuals on the go, or in areas like on the shop floor, during a meeting, maybe it's too loud to be on the phone. So cases where the phone call might be tough and you're not trying to diagnose some advanced failures or errors, okay? A couple examples, what's the latest version or service pack available today? Can SOLIDWORKS open native inventor files? Where can I find the serial number I have loaded on my PC? If the questions require greater detail on your individual setup, then you might be asked for contact information so we can generate a case to assist with a support technician with the additional resources. This chat is maintained by live individuals from Go. It's not just a bot tool spitting off some seemingly random answers. So when you do reply or send in the initial message, that has to go into the chat for those individuals overseeing it. They'll try to get some details together right away. You can correspond back and forth through this window and sometimes get all the way through the conclusion of what you need. So it's a great tool. Remember, it's there. It's accessible on our website when you go in. If you have any questions on those tools, by all means, let us know outside of this webinar. So we went through the methods for how you can contact us, right? So you got in touch with us, we got you on the phone, we got you via email. How can we help you resolve your issues? So we have three interfacing options once the case is created. Obviously the email and phone, or live web sessions with our MX Meeting or Zoom tools. The method which we use is determined by your comfort level and needs. We'll make suggestions for certain options over others based on getting you a resolution as soon as possible. Getting you back to work and being able to complete your projects is very, very important to us. So we're not limited on the amount of time we can spend with you on your case. But we might need to get information and come back later with a suggestion if the solution is not able to be quickly found. The discussion might take 30 minutes or more, or it could be done in 5. Hearing how you work through the problem gives us great insight as to what's going on with your system, and sometimes those smallest details are the smoking gun of the problem. This is where like a conversation is going to be a lot better than just an email back and forth or the live session. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Certain cases where the error can be emailed to us as you see it will give us as much detail as we need to give you a quick answer. But by far, probably the web session is the best scenario for understanding your issues and guiding you to that solution. Every GoEngineer support technician has access to that tool. Sometimes the way you're working in your interface, nuances of how you're clicking and dragging are the root of the problem, and this live web interface will show us exactly that. We definitely prefer that you drive while we're in these sessions. Most individuals retain or learn the information better that way. If you prefer any method over another, let us know. That's how we'll proceed from that point. There are times where we might need to get control of your mouse to help investigate some things, but we're going to let you know. And if you're comfortable with anything we're doing during those sessions, please just let us know. Say, hey, can you hold on a second? I want to understand, or I would like to walk through this, we can go hands off, no problem. So we talked about how you can reach out to us, when you can reach out to us, how we can interface with you. Let's talk about when you should be contacting us. So this is some types here, but it's not limited to just these bullet points. I just want to kind of focus on a few here that we see a lot of users not necessarily reaching out when they should. Anytime a reaction to a command gives the same unneeded or unwanted result, right? That's repeatable failure. You got to let us know, right? It could be the way you're using the tool. You could be using it in a way that the software wasn't originally generated. I mean, there's millions of lines of code. It's possible you found a certain workflow, a flow that works for you, doesn't apply for all users. We got to investigate that further. Most commands are readily at your fingertips. It should be fairly easy to get into the proper tool or in the proper direction. If you find yourself there, that 30-minute mark going, there's got to be a way to do this, right? SOLIDWORKS can do a lot of things. Contact us. We'll help you find it. We know where those tools are. We're very familiar with everything year over year, what the software brings to the table. Nothing's more fun than double-clicking your desktop icon and you get nothing to happen, right? That's the no start, right? Or going into a command simply locks up your system. That kind of falls into the same group. You got to get us involved right away. Yes, you can maybe retry a couple times, but don't assume it's just going to fix itself. You definitely want to get us involved in that scenario. The service packs, right? Service packs and upgrades. All service packs aren't needed, right? For you to be successful with your applications. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? If you're not experiencing any issues or any problems, you don't need to go to a newer service pack of the same major release unless there's functionality that's changed. But when you're ready for the release updates or changing the service pack is a fix for a problem you're having in the software, reach out to us on any concerns or if you're in need of any documentation to work through that task. If you need us to assist with the process, in its entirety, we can get you or services team, or they can quote or schedule out that assistance and provide help as you need it. Next one, the randomness, right? It's never enjoyed when you're trying to work through a project. You feel like you've hammered the command 15 times, spot on how it's gonna react. And on a large project suite, there's a possibility of the same step giving you a different result. Reach out to us, show us the step, explain that it's random. We can get in and take a look and help with those and move it along. Last one was you're working on a project, you had a failure, you didn't have time because you need to get the project out the door. That's fine, right? You're finally freed up. You can finally look into it. Chances are that problem you had will come up again. And if you don't try to understand the causes, you're going to run into it, and it could be at a time when you can't get past it and you don't have the timeline to be able to troubleshoot it. So take some notes as to what you were doing or the actions that occurred before the issue. Reach back out to us. Let us know, and we can go ahead and move forward from there. So on the flip side of what things you should be reaching out to us for to make sure we can help you, there's things we might not necessarily be able to help with or ways we can assist, right? First one here, you need help designing, right? We're not a design house, right? We can't be tied to your designs. We're not aware of the requirements of your project. We're not held to the guidelines of that product getting out the door. Or we can't be liable for making any edits or changes to your models. We can help with examples that aren't your model that can show you how to get past a problem. But underlying that, you would have to do that yourself. If you we're here to help with the bugs, the failures, the crashes, the things that occur in those type. We'll give you the suggestions on how to proceed. And if you want more help, we can get you into an application mentoring session where they can dive in and understand your project needs and work you through that. So keep that in mind when you have some questions and you're just trying to find out how to create something in its entirety. You know, we're not trying to put you off. We want to keep you on track, but there's some areas that we really can't touch much. Next one here would be, you know, this day and age, shockingly, profanity. You know, we understand you're having problems. We understand you can get frustrated, right? We don't want to be a punching bag, but we do understand the frustrations. A lot of times the frustration happens when you didn't want to reach out to us sooner because you thought it wasn't a big deal. You know, and we're telling you reach out to us early on. We want to stop you from getting to that frustration point that causes you, you know, to have to use that kind of language. You know, we'll stop you. We'll correct you. We'll say, hey, you know, we need to calm it down, or we need to go a different route to go ahead and take care of this. But, you know, we're individuals on the other end just trying to help you get to that same point too. So keep that in mind. Another one here, your machine has Windows issues, you know, not caused by the SOLIDWORKS application or process. This is a time when we need to get your IT involved. The problem might have started when you started up SOLIDWORKS, when you saw the problem, but SOLIDWORKS inherently won't crash Windows to a blue screen failure, right? When SOLIDWORKS has a failure, the application itself crashes out and closes. It doesn't affect Windows. When SOLIDWORKS causes blue screen crashes or Windows failure, it's usually because one of the components it's based off of, you know, a RAM, a video card, a prereq that's a basis for Windows. That is triggered and that's failing. So again, we'll have to get your IT involved. You know, we can give you some directions to look, but there's not much we can do when your PC is failing. We can only fix the software itself. Another one here, and it kind of goes off the last slide. You had a failure. You can continue with your work. Current workload won't allow you the time to be able to get an issue to us or work through the problem. And you want to just throw it over the fence. Well, that causes some problems. You're going to send us an issue you're having, but you don't have time to work on it. We can't fix it, right? Things will change. You know, take the notes of what's happening, write down some key steps or features you're using, send them over when you have some time, right? And then we can dive in and diagnose and look into it, you know. So just keeping those notes around are good enough. The last one here that I want to hit on, I say check the weather, right? We like to keep the support lines as open as possible for users running into problems with their software. We want to keep you guys working. We want to keep everybody running. So when you're calling, make sure it's about products that you've purchased with GoEngineer and SOLIDWORKS. Things like third-party tools sometimes have their own support. You need to reach out to them. You got to look for, you know, other environment variables, you know, printers, things like that. Although we might be able to talk about the problem a little bit, we're probably going to have to rely on your IT and other groups to work with it. We'll politely ask you to get your IT involved with those. So there are a couple areas where we'll potentially ask you to look to other groups for assistance that don't apply to us, or get you to other groups here at GoEngineer that does take care of those. So those are the areas that we can help out with. Those are the methods for contacting us. Those are the methods for which we can work with you. So what I want to do is turn it over to any questions you all might have regarding the system here. I'm going to put this on a brief pause so I can take a look at the chat. Doesn't appear I have any questions. And I don't have any questions at this time. If anyone runs into any questions or concerns as they're moving through their working day, here's the methods for getting a hold of us here at GoEngineer. We'd be more than happy to give you assistance with anything that you're running into, any questions or concerns you might run into. So again, thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to helping you more in the future. Have a great day.